Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, it's November 1st. It's Friday. It's almost 6 p.m. Pacific time on the West Coast. Here I am. We are a weekend, and we're basically 4 days away from Election Day. We've made it. We've just about made it, but we've effectively made it. Trump's comments have gotten more and more unhinged as we get closer to the election. These are not the actions of a confident man knowing he's going to win the election. These are the actions and reactions of a man who is scared beyond description, lashing out at anyone and everyone around him. Literally, I've shared this story before. I was a lifeguard for a number of years, and we were trained to, when you're rescuing somebody, you need to try and talk with them and calm them down before you rescue them, even as they're drowning, because a drowning person will grab anyone around them and literally will hold on to them or push them underwater so that they can lift themselves up and get another breath of air. And if I were to do a water rescue and somebody was to latch onto me, preventing me from swimming, what I need to do is actually swim down, start pushing myself underwater, because if you bring them underwater with you, they let go. And then you can bob up away from them and try the process again once they've calmed down a bit. Trump is that drowning man. He will grab onto anyone around him and drag them down with him, just for that extra gulp of air. One more day of freedom. One more day of no accountability or responsibility. His latest comments include attacking Liz Cheney, accusing her of being a war hawk, which may or may not be true. I don't typically think of Liz Cheney as being a war hawk, but I would say that the Republican Party, generally speaking, are the war hawks in Congress and the presidency. John Bolton was a well-known Iranian war hawk, amongst others. Nobody's accusing Nancy Pelosi or Hakeem Jeffries or AOC or Katie Porter of being war hawks. You know what I mean? They're not out there just wanting to go to war with anyone. If anything, the Democrats are the ones that really resist going to war. They would almost always rather use a diplomatic solution to a problem. Okay? I say almost always because, FDR went to war after Pearl Harbor was bombed. But he was also, I think he wanted to go to war, but, you had a bunch of conservatives that were under Nazi propaganda. Tell me where you've heard this before. Trying to prevent the U.S. from getting involved in something that would help the free people of the world and slow down fascists. Here we are again. The TikTokers I watch commented about, hey, do you notice that the news media, they talked about Puerto Rico, and many of you in the comments said the same thing, but nobody's talking about the part about the black people and watermelons, carving watermelons. I didn't hear what the joke was. I'm assuming they're making a reference to carving pumpkins and carving watermelons. I could be wrong. Again, I didn't hear the joke. But yeah, associating black people with watermelon is just, did you throw fried chicken in there while you were at it? Let's get all the stereotypes in there. Why should you just stop at one? But nobody's talking about that. And that's just as offensive. Again, wanting to put Liz Cheney in front of 9 rifles for a firing squad. The news media they're talking about it, but it's not the top story. It should be the top story when the former president of the United States and current Republican nominee for president is talking about putting his political enemies in front of firing squads. It shows you how corrupt the corporate media is at this point. That's not to say all contributors and all members of the corporate media are corrupt, but the people in charge who are making the decisions, the owners, they are corrupt. They're worried about their pocketbooks and not about reporting the news. It's become too lucrative an industry. So we can also look at that, what Kamala Harris is going to do with the with the news media going forward. That's if I can remember that. I'm getting old. I forget these things. But let's look around the energy of Donald Trump and the election and just see where the reading takes us, okay? Title for this video to be determined after I do the reading. Okay, this will be for entertainment purposes only, as are all of my readings. I do not care to be sued for defamation or anything along those lines. I'm just some random dude on the internet throwing tarot cards and using my intuition to try and create a narrative from the cards that I'm seeing. Are they biased? Sure, I'm human. There's going to be bias in there. Part of that bias is I don't read reversals. But the other part of that bias is I work with probabilities. If Trump found $100 lying on the ground, what's the probability he's going to stick it in his pocket and just whistle a happy tune because he found $100, versus what's the chance that he finds that $100 and then goes looking for the owner of it to return it? Right? What's the chance that Trump opens a charity and doesn't steal from it versus he will steal from it? It's okay to play probabilities. Not always right, but it's okay. And Nico is stalking me. The House Panther is checking out the crunchy kibbles down here. Okay, so let's take a look at the energy around Donald Trump and the election. Okay? Again, entertainment purposes only. Mr. Trump is saying the craziest stuff. What is going on? Well, he thinks it's a flex. He thinks he's projecting strength. And, they talk about him being on his revenge tour. He's all about his grievances. And he's going to shut up anybody who's ever talked against him ever. Pardon me, coffee break. But what he doesn't realize is that his idea of projection is actually projection of weakness, not of strength. Saying you're going to put your political enemies because they dared criticize you in front of a firing squad is not strength. That's weakness, petty weakness. What are we going to cross this with? Oh, Knight of Swords. Why does he try and project strength? Because inside, he is a scared little boy. He knows what's coming. He may be surrounded by yes men, but he understands what's coming. And the thought of him losing is terrifying to him. Now, I was going to bounce back and forth with this. He surrounds himself with yes men who tell him he's winning, and he believes he's winning. I'm sure he's absolutely confident that he's winning, but there's that quiet self-doubt that he doesn't let people know, oh, what happens if I lose? And then, in order to pacify himself, he goes back to saying what he's going to do when he wins. He's the ultimate manifester. He is so good at manifesting things, just ignoring objective reality and creating his own reality. And then for whatever reason, the people around him help him create that reality. He's like a walking Truman Show if Truman was a failed millionaire rapist who has cheated small businesses and charities and bankrupt several companies and commits multiple felonies a day because that's just what he does with zero accountability ever. I know a couple of viewers here will disagree with that, but be honest with yourself. That's exactly what he does every day. He gets away with it, but that doesn't mean he's not doing it. And don't kid yourself to think he isn't. Underneath it all is the Two of Wands. It's what's coming next. This whole thing is about he can see what's happening next. He wants it to be the presidency. The presidency resolves multiple problems for him. But I don't think he's there. In the past, you have the Seven of Wands. Won that first election. Lost the re-election. And won the nomination pretty much on his own terms. Wouldn't go to any debates. Was just kind of like the de facto candidate. He didn't even participate. And guess what? He did. He won. Because his supporters are fanatical. And in July 7, He was shot, and then he had his fight. And Donald Trump, his whole life, has always fought things and always seems to come out on top. And when he doesn't come out on top, he tries to negotiate things so that it's not so bad for himself, blames somebody else, declares himself the victor, and then moves on. It must be nice to live in his world where you're always right. You're always the most handsome, most likable person, etc., etc., etc. Current situation is the world card. The walls are closing in around him. This is the end of Trump. This is the end of Trump. Now, mind you, the court cases are going to be going on, and there's going to be court cases. There'll be court cases for this guy long after he's dead, because they will go after his estate. And it's going to be women who he sexually assaulted will be going after his estate. Again, entertainment purposes only, but there are a number of women who have accused him of that type of behavior. And when he's gone, the threat that they or their family will be harmed if they come out will be removed, and they will come. His days of reckoning are here. Overarching energy is the Two of Cups. It's, agreements, contracts. This is the bipartisanship that's coming in here that's going to undo Trump. And it's funny because Trump is the great divider. He comes in here and he tries to split Democrats and Republicans from each other. Not that there was a whole lot of bipartisanship going on for the last 20, 30, 40 years, but it's been known to happen. But he's really divided the country, and Kamala Harris is bringing the country together. We're leaving that age and beginning something new. It's funny. It's also, I can read this as Kamala Harris cards too, if you like. The overarching energy, or the lesson to be learned here, is the Star card. It's the calm after the storm. It's the rise of the age of Aquarius. We're out with the old and in with the new. Inclusion is going to be a thing. Dividing people and excluding them, those people, if they don't want to be part of the collective, that's fine. They can come over here. They can join whenever they want, but nobody's going to force them to. We're going to move forward without them. Lesson to be, the outcome is the Page of Pentacles. New ideas springing forward. The youth coming forward with ideas. The grifting that Trump has done. There's going to be all sorts of new ideas, new changes, ways to restrict the old ways of doing things and to encourage the new way of doing things. I said I would read this as a Kamala Harris spread. This is Kamala Harris showing strength and mastery. She has run a masterful campaign. And that's also causing Donald Trump anxiety because he can't do anything about it as she prepares to move forward. While he's had his fight, she's overcome too. She's a proven, unlike Trump, she's a proven winner. Everything she does, she wins. Now, I'm not saying she won every court case, but, she's San Francisco District Attorney's Office, became the Attorney General of California, became a California Senator, became the Vice President of the United States, and now is going to win the presidency. Win. This woman wins. This is, she's ending the chapter of vice presidency, about to begin a new chapter as the first female president of the United States. And she's going to, and again, I come back to the age of Aquarius here, she's going to put a close on this current age and welcome in the age of Aquarius. She's created a big tent and welcomes everybody in the big tent. That is her strength, is her authenticity and ability to bring people in. They trust her. She doesn't come across as a smarmy, lying politician because she's not. Her mama raised her better than that. She's going to come up with new ideas. There's going to be a new way of doing things. Some of it's going to drive you absolutely nuts. Some of it you're going to love. Some of it is going to make you scratch your head and say, why are you doing that? But understand, she is going to do things her way. She will have a plan. She has values. She has morals and ethics and boundaries. And she is a strong, intelligent, driven woman. Again, so, you're saying, well, David, what do you mean? What is she going to do things? Well, talking about appointing Republicans to her cabinet. I don't know which cabinet positions they will be. I suspect she means to do that, and it may be more than one. She is going to reach out. She'll probably have that border issue passed to control things at the border, which will give the Republicans some huge victory that they've been denying themselves because Trump wanted to run on the border. And it seems cruel and unnecessary, or maybe even mean-spirited, but there'll be something that follows it. The DACA will follow it. There will be programs that will come in place to supplement that border bill. Maybe even replace that border bill. She, as a law and order president, she may make decisions to who to prosecute and who not to prosecute that would frustrate you because we want them all to be held accountable. Okay. Again, she is her own woman. Just let her ride. You take the whole package with her. A lot of things you're going to like, some things you may not like. That's true with anything, right? Okay. I said I was going to remember what to throw on. The news media. The biases of the news media here. That's one thing we should sharpen our knives on. And I hope she sharpens her knives on it too. How will she approach the news media after this election, especially given the bias in the coverage? There's been talk by multiple intuitives, far wiser and more intuitive than I, who have suggested she will try and bring back the fairness doctrine or something akin to that to hold media, corporate media and such, accountable for their actions. Let's see what Kamala Harris is going to do with corporate media, especially given this election, their coverage of it, and why if Biden says something about garbage and the news media makes a 2-day story out of it, headline news, Trump talks about executing his political enemies and they don't say a thing about it. That's going to bother her, amongst other things. High Priestess, Foundation of the Reading. It's going to be this look. Not only the look, but it's going to be look. You know what? You've been getting away with stuff for far too long. This to me screams regulations. I'm getting regulations from this. Big regulations. We had something that worked before that was gotten rid of and spawned right-wing media, radio, and basically gaslighting. So part of this whole thing is going to be the de-gaslighting of the United States. Okay, 18 minutes into the reading. Segue. Doris, Ozzy's mom, who's a graphic artist, is coming up with a post-election t-shirt. She shared the design with me. I love it. It absolutely kicks into my sense of humor. She tried to upload it to Zazzle. At a high level, it's basically implying that we're talking about Kool-Aid and how the Harris walls are going to need to drain the Kool-Aid from the swamp, as it were. But they wouldn't let her use the term Kool-Aid. So she's trying to work on a design. I was saying she's got the Kool-Aid picture on there. I just say put the eyes and the mouth on it, because that's what makes Kool-Aid iconic, are those distinctive eyes, nose, and mouth. So hopefully she will have that uploaded. So there might be a new t-shirt for you to wear that pokes a little teeny tiny fun at the cult of Donald Trump. So if and when that goes up there, check my community page. I will have links there. Cross with the Justice card. Oh, look at these major arcana. Yeah. Kamala Harris, regulations and justice. I think she's going to get some things passed, some laws passed about this, and there's going to be teeth to them. You can't, so far, corporate media, here we go again with the Two of Wands, things that are going to be happening in the future. Corporate media has shown their greed at the expense of the United States. So it's almost like a patriot kind of act. It's not. It's not going to be some patriotic, you got to be patriotic to the country. But the whole thing is this, the justification for these regulations is the undermining of democracy through the spreading of propaganda. And that's going to be the bedrock foundation that the news media is not allowed to undermine democracy. by spreading false information, propaganda, things along those lines. And I think there's going to be a lot of regulations in place that's going to make it a lot harder to do it. And if you're found guilty, probably be easier to be found guilty of it, and fines and stuff like that, that will make it dissuade people from doing that. Might even just break up the monopolies that we have with the news media, because the corporate media is owned by 7 to 10 men. In the past, she got the Ace of Swords. Yeah, she's going to bring forward all the stuff she learns as a district attorney and attorney general is going to play into this. Good Lord, look at these cards. This woman is not to be messed with. Current situation, Page of Swords, new ideas. They're going to be nascent ideas that are going to be brought forward. It's going to take a while to get them instituted. This is not going to be an overnight thing. This is going to be something where you put something in place and then you start building on it. She's going to lay the foundation. Overarching Image is a death card. Bringing an end to the misinformation. Page of Swords is also a card of the spy within. The enemy within. Spy in the camp. So part of this legislation is to stop propaganda. Call this a propaganda card, if you will. Putting an end to that. The news media is at its best when it's reporting the news. You can have an editorial section that can spin their interpretation of facts, but I think what's going to happen here is they're going to have to be working off of facts. And then the fairness doctrine is you also need to apply a counterpoint for your points. You need to allow for somebody else with a different interpretation of those facts to present them. No more propaganda. The outcome is going to be the Five of Coins. I do think that there will be fines. I don't know how that would work in the current situation. It could be that there's fines later. I do think, though, about that little hit I had about breaking up monopolies. I think that's what this is going to be. I think she's planning on breaking up monopolies. If you have one company, it's going to split into 7. And I think she's going to start with Fox Entertainment, because they are egregious in what they've done. And they have done irreparable and all sorts of harm to the United States. Rupert probably got out in time. He will probably die at the right time. Lachlan maybe not so much. His son's currently in charge of it. He's probably going to bear the brunt of his father's misdeeds because he's been perpetuating them. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, this is 23 minutes. Let's go ahead and end this reading here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you did find it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.